Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, on behalf of the United Nations Environment Programme, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you to this first Southeast Asian meeting of GRASP. As many of you know, GRASP is a fairly unique partnership and dates back to 2001 when it began as the first species-focused conservation partnership within the United Nations. It is also unique because not only does it bring together the United Nations Environment Programme and our partner and sister agency UNESCO, but also many of the leading conservation organizations and governments who are committed to addressing the issue of great apes. This meeting in Kota Kinabalu in Malaysia is one that is particularly important, being both the first meeting but also coming on the back of an increasingly dramatic and also very concerning crisis concerning the orangutan and other apes. Going back to 2013, when UNEP published the Stolen Apes report and identified that probably 50% or more of all illegally traded apes were in fact orangutans, we have also learned that in the year 2015 alone, over 70% of seized illegal traded apes are orangutans. These numbers should be worrying not only for Southeast Asia, but indeed for all of us who care about species and biodiversity on our planet. It is quite clear that with growing populations, rapidly developing economies, and still a need to provide basic services to literally tens of millions of people in the region, the challenge of reconciling development, economic progress, and yet also the maintenance of habitat and biodiversity are issues that are not yet aligned. Countries in the region have taken many significant steps, and together with UNEP also we have worked in many countries on issues such as conservation and the transition towards a green economy. But time is running out, and particularly for orangutans. Our concern is that as economies develop and as decisions are made about land use, but also with an increasingly organized international criminal network of syndicates, the illegal trade in wildlife and also the destruction of habitat for these species to survive is now a concern that needs to be at the top of the list. We are truly running out of time, and through GRASP, we are trying to mobilize a partnership that both involves governments but also citizens, communities, international conservation organizations to try and come up with better answers as to how we can achieve sustainable development in which both the concerns, needs and priorities for human development can coexist alongside the needs of biodiversity and species. At this meeting we will also be launching another report that is looking particularly at the issue of land use change and climate impacts in terms of its consequences for orangutans. Our concern is that if they are not looked at carefully right now and studied also with a view to trying to both arrest some of the trends that have already been documented in so many different reports at national level and international level, but also with policies that try to find a formula for coexistence and for benefit both for human development as well as species conservation, we will not succeed. In a report that we published in 2011 in Indonesia, we did indeed identify many opportunities for both achieving a more sustainable development and land use pattern, while also recognizing that the economics of conservation, of protecting forest habitat, and also of looking at, for instance, the contribution of forests in terms of climate mitigation, were changing the economics of land use with conservation being an integral part of it. As you meet in Southeast Asia, I hope that you will be able to both give us some direction and courage and encouragement, because if we do not succeed in providing a different vision and also reach out to policymakers, leaders in our communities, but above all amongst citizens, we will not succeed in conserving the habitat and ultimately in keeping a species alive that has been part of this planet literally for millennia. I hope that in the experiences that you'll be able to share, but also in the initiatives that you can catalyze, we can find common cause at national level and through support at the international level to try and provide a sustainable development vision that is in line also with the outcomes of the Rio+20 summit. The future we want surely cannot be one in which an orangutan is no longer part of life on this planet. The decisions that will be taken literally over the next decade or so will make the difference between keeping a species alive and in its habitat, or perhaps in a few decades simply being able to revisit the existence of an orangutan on our planet in the history books. GRASP is a unique partnership. It has the power to both catalyze and mobilize, but above all to support countries in moving forward. Together we have initiated over 100 projects worldwide since the establishment of GRASP, and many of them have already begun to make a difference. Let us use this unique partnership to also in Southeast Asia bring more momentum to the cause of conservation and sustainable development. I wish you a very successful meeting and commit to you once again the support of the United Nations Environment Programme and indeed of the United Nations family in assisting countries and communities in achieving sustainable development outcomes that include the conservation of biodiversity and the protection of species. Thank you very much.